The Rundown is brought to you by Commonwealth Brewery Limited. Good evening and welcome to the show, everyone. A long-standing dispute between gas retailers and government now resolved. The Prime Minister this past Monday right here called it a win-win for both sides. Retailers get the long-awaited increase they've been lobbying for, claiming that without it, their businesses will close. On the other hand, with gas prices falling worldwide and here at home, Bahamians will reportedly not feel the increase. Well, following the Prime Minister's announcement here on the show on Monday, our Colville Pyfrom took to the streets for reaction. Take a look.
Prime Minister Philip Davis using his first live TV interview since taking office to announce Monday night that after years of back and forth, petroleum retailers are being given those long sought-after margin increases. 25 cents on fuel, a 15 cents hike for diesel. Mr. Davis quickly predicting, though, the impact to customers will be insignificant.
Well, the result is that there will be an increase in the margin, both for gasoline and gas and diesel, added to their margin, and it would not have, as I said, the deleterious effect on the Bahamian public as it would have done if we had done it much earlier.
The operators have long lamented that with profit margins unchanged, they were struggling to meet their financial obligations like paying staff, leaving the jobs of countless of workers in jeopardy. Some even feared that they would have to shut their operations down entirely. Simply put, these retailers say without this increase, they just couldn't make ends meet. Today, they were filled with gratitude for both the Prime Minister and their customers.
This margin increase is something that we think is livable and palatable for the motoring public, but also something that will give us the ability to feed our families, to look after our employees, and also to spend the time to try to improve our service level to the public, who are the reason why we can operate.
This is a happy day. We want to publicly thank the Prime Minister. Publicly thank him for all that he has done, all that they have done to make sure that this day happened.
I would like to add my thanks, especially to the motoring public who was for a lot of ups and downs with this situation with us.
The Prime Minister did not state when those increases will take effect. The retailers seem to think that they will happen in a matter of weeks. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Coralin Pyfrom.
All right, well, joining me tonight to talk more about this issue is Vice President of the Bahamas Petroleum Retailers Association, Vasco Bastian, and former PLP Cabinet Minister Leslie Miller. Gentlemen, welcome to the Rundown. Good to have both of you.
Good night.
Pleasure to be here. I want to start with you, Vasco, because obviously this has been something that your association has been lobbying for some time. I remember covering this story and talking to you, and at some point you felt discouraged, like that wasn't going to happen. It's now going to happen. What say you about the Prime Minister's announcement on Monday?
Clint, I said it publicly yesterday, and I'll say it here on your show. We're elated. We're elated the fact that the Prime Minister has announced it. We are grateful to the Prime Minister and all that he's done to bring this matter to a close. I spoke with other members of the association, our president, and everybody. We're extremely happy and we're grateful and appreciative to the Prime Minister for what he's done.
Obviously, people are concerned that this is going to impact Bahamians, and I'll get to Mr. Miller in a second, who will express that concern in greater detail. But is this a matter of being needy or greedy?
It's a matter of being needy. The last time the Bahamas Petroleum Retailers Association got an increase was 13 years ago. We first started our engagement, our conversation with the Prime Minister when price of fuel was at $7.39. Fuel, as of today, is $5.35. There's been a $2.08 reduction in the cost of fuel. The trend in the global market in regards to crude oil, with gas and extraction from, continues to decline. When we first met with the Prime Minister, his major concern was the fact that the price at the current time was too high and he didn't want to put that burden on the Bahamian people. And so we worked with the Prime Minister for the last 3 years, and he said he was going to do it when it became when he thought the timing was right. And we think now that the timing is right. So, you know, it's a win-win. Like I said, it's a win-win for everybody, and we're happy.
Mr. Miller, do you see it as a win-win for both sides?
You know,
It disturbed me this morning when I read the newspapers. The big headlines, $1 a week more for most drivers. Now they say they did a study for $20 a week. Name me one Bahamian you know who uses $20 a week gas for $20 a week. Can't happen. You know, the facts need to be told. The margins on gasoline now. Last year, the retailers margin was $36,379,812.96 on gasoline alone. On diesel, it was $22,214,617.92. That's a total of $58,495,430. That's the margin. Now, that don't include their costs. That's the margin. The biggest problem that I've seen when I was Minister of Trade and Industry, the problem is really not with the consumers in this country. The problem is between the retailers and their owners, who are the major distributors, Esso, Shell, and Texaco, or Rubis. They're the ones who control their destiny. Now, with this increase that they're going to get on the 1st of October, that's fine. The Prime Minister made that decision, the Cabinet did. We got to live with that. But when those new margins go into effect on the 1st, the next fiscal year, their profit, their new margin is going to increase to $86,297,032. Now, who gets most of that money? In the newspaper, this was the headline, eh? $1.20. Also, one of the majors say now they're coming for theirs. And they're going to get theirs. Theirs are probably going to be, I suspect, 10 cents on gasoline. What about 6 to 8 cents on diesel?
I don't know. I find it very amazing.
And they're going to pass it on to you all.
I find it so amazing that Mr. Miller always injects himself in this conversation with the government and retailers. You know, I see Mr. Miller with his numbers, but I tell Mr. Miller, I tell him this before, and I'll tell him this again. Those numbers that he quoted, we, the retailers, will not see the majority of them.
No,
he's speaking about gross numbers.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Mr. Miller's always been the friend of the poor, and most retailers in the last 50 and 20 years are poor people. So, you know, when he comes with these spurious numbers, I'm very, very concerned.
No disputed numbers.
You know, I mean, you know, we have struggled in this industry for the last 15 to 20 years. The last time we got a margin increase was 13 years ago. Yes. The operating costs in the last 13 years has gone up 3 times. And you know, if Mr. Miller's going to be truthful, from all due respect, Mr. Miller, no. One second.
No, you said
if Mr. Miller's going to be honest, we don't want Mr. Miller coming and condemning retailers. He should be on our side, trying to get us increased, trying to help us out.
So what do you think? The numbers he's quoting.
That's the poor, yeah.
So what do you say? The numbers he's quoting are correct, or are those numbers for your?
They are gross numbers that Mr. Miller may have. Those numbers don't trickle down to the average retailer. The average retailer continues to struggle. Thank God the Prime Minister saw fit to give us a 25-cent increase.
Have gas retailers made profit from the service?
The average gas station operating in this country hasn't made a profit in the last probably 6 to 7 years.
That's because the empires and distributors own them. They are renting, you know. That's what you need to understand. If 90% of them are renting. So the guy got full control over them. They take advantage of them. I'll get them.
So come with us.
Not to the detriment of the Bahamian people.
There's no detriment. Come with us, Mr. Miller. Come with us and support us.
Let me ask you.
Come with us and lobby with us that we should own those sites eventually.
Let me ask you because
I didn't do it. I sure as hell didn't do it now.
So let me ask you, because obviously the concern is, will this trickle down to the Bahamian people, right? And if you're saying that 25% increase on 25-cent increase on every dollar, right?
not on every dollar, 25 cents on the average.
Every gallon of gas.
Every gallon.
So if you get how many, the average
if gas is $5, gas $5, it goes to $5.25.
Right.
Puts it by $20. That's where the dollar comes from.
Right.
You know,
but the average person doesn't buy $20 gas.
You know that.
You would be amazed that the average person buys less than $20.
Not for the week.
And why is that? Are they buying less than 20 because they don't have the money to buy the gas?
It's because the cost of gas was higher back then, but now you find that as gas decreased, people buy more.
Okay.
And so with the gas went down from $2, from $7.39 3 years ago, to now to $5.35. It's been a $2.08 reduction. So you find that people, it's simple economics, supply and demand, price. People tend to buy, when prices low, people buy more. And you find that the average payment buys anywhere between $15 to $25 probably every two days. You know.
So let me ask you, because with your increase, do you believe it will trickle and increase with others? For example, the wholesalers, people who sell you the gas are going to now ask for more.
Well, you know,
do you believe people who now have to, any business that uses gasoline are now going to go up on their price because they're saying, listen, gas is costing us more, so we're going to go up on our goods?
I can't speak for what the other business persons would do, but I can tell you one thing. If Mr. Miller has a point, as an issue in regards with wholesalers and issues with them, then he should speak to them directly and go and see them, and then he should join forces with us then. But you know, I'm not going to come on your show or any other show and get into a back and forth with wholesalers and what they do and how they go about asking them for their margin or all that other stuff. My concern has been for the last 3 years the struggle and the hardship that the average Bahamian retailer has endured in this country, in this industry. Mr. Miller, you could speak to that. I'm here to represent and speak for retailers in this country. We continue to employ people. We continue to make our contribution to the overall economy. We continue to be law-abiding citizens. We continue to do our part for the greater good of this country. So I'm not going to come here and discuss anything about wholesalers. I'm here to represent the interests of the Bahamian investors who have taken their hard-earned money and invested into the economy, and we employ, on average station, 25 to 30 persons per station. So if Mr. Miller wants to discuss Shell, Rubis, or Esso, what they do and what they're asking for, then he needs to make an appointment to go and see those persons. I'm not getting the back and forth, Clint, on your show or any other show with Mr. Miller and that. But all I know, from where I sit, I'm an investor in this country. I'm a Bahamian business. I have a wife and a family and children, and Mr. Miller knows me, and he knows me well. And let me tell you something. I work hard in this industry to contribute to this industry, to build my business, and every businessman in this country. Mr. Miller's a businessman. You don't go in business to lose money. You go in the business to make a profit. Now, if Mr. Miller want to go into business and don't make a profit, then that's on him.
Why can't you admit that your problem is with the importer and distributor?
Let's take a thing right there. I want to go to a break. I'm going to come back and we'll pick it up from there. And I want you to explain to us what this 25 cents will do for your company, and is it enough, and how long do you believe it'll be able to sustain you? We'll do that after the break. Stay with us. You're watching Rundown. We're back after this. Stay close.
JMC TCI and Sunset Village Fish Fry present I'm a Boatman, featuring KB and Fred, D-Mac, Tino D, Nishi Ellis, Sweet Emily, Wilfred Sullivan, Funky D, DVS, Veronica Bishop, Papa Smurf, Sherrod Taylor, Lil Joe Cartwright, Mama D, Colin McDonough, Chad Cully and the VIP, and from Turks Island, the Proficient Band, and host Super P. There'll also be performances by The Swinger and the Platinum Nights Junkanoo Group, Sunday, October 13th at Sunset Village Fish Fry, 8 Mile Rock. Sponsored by the Ministry of Grand Bahama and the Ministry of Tourism.
Welcome to our SBDC Business Tips, where we share valuable insights with small business owners. From practical advice to actionable tips, we're here to support you on your journey to success. As a small business owner, it is crucial to define your market. Conduct market research to determine who your ideal customers are, their demographics, and their buying habits. Knowing who your customers are helps tailor your products and services to their needs. This information will help you to create a targeted marketing campaign and improves your chances of success. We hope you find these business tips helpful. To help your business reach its full potential, visit sbdcbahamas.com or give us a call at 242-461-SBDC.
Welcome back to the Rundown. My guest is Vice President of the Retailers Association, Bahamas Petroleum Retailers Association, Mr. Vasco Bastian, and former PLP Cabinet Minister Leslie Miller, talking about the decision by Prime Minister to give the increase 25 cents on every gallon of gasoline, and of course an increase in diesel as well. And before the break, we were talking about it, and I wanted to find out this 25 cents. People are probably going to question how long will this satisfy? What will this be able to do for retailers?
I think this will put retailers to a position where they were about 10 years ago. We know that the cost of electricity, NIB, minimum wage, all went up during the last 13 years. And so this will now bring us back to a point, I think, where we can be profitable, but bearing in mind also to just predicting the future, the cost of crude oil, inflation, and all this other stuff. But this will bring us back to where we were 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we were seeing a slight profit, and I think it should hold us for a while. There's no certainty in anything, but I think this 25 cents should be right to bring us right where we need to be.
Was this the right decision to make, Mr. Miller, as the Prime Minister?
The Davis administration made that decision. I think they felt the pain of the local retailers. My problem has never been to the retailers, it's been the you know.
Right, okay.
The distributors and the importers control them and own them. They are renting 90% of their building. The landowner, that's the guy who made the investment. That's the one who controlled the shorts. And what's going to happen now, when they meet with the government and the government giving them an increase, because they have to give them an increase. They always push the retailers on their folks to get theirs. Then the fellas say, hey, you forget me. Been about 10 years now for me. I need mine, or 10, 20 years. Mm-hmm. So they will come and they will get the increase. It's probably going to be I'd say between 10 to 15 cents on gasoline, and they'll probably get about 8 cents to 10 cents on the diesel. Now, when they get that, they're going to pass it on to them. So his margin's going to be cut right away, and he knows that.
Any issue,
it's going to be cut.
I can't speak for what the wholesalers will do. I am hoping that they won't go that route, but I believe that the Davis administration and Mr. Miller, he's welcome to join us.
So you're lobbying that they don't get an increase right now?
I'm not saying anything about that. We went to the Prime Minister and we spoke on our behalf as retailers. If the wholesalers want 5 cents, 10 cents, 25, whatever they want, then they need to make their case to the Prime Minister.
If they're given an increase, will that impact you with the 25 cent increase?
I mean, definitely will impact us, but it would impact us significantly. But I mean, I can't speak to. I can't speak to them. It would impact them, their bottom line. Whereas if they don't get an increase, they might try to wriggle their way into our 25 cents. That's a whole different issue.
Right.
But my whole thing has always been this: if the Mr. Miller, the former Minister of Trade and Investment, I apologize. If he is so concerned about these Bahamian investors and these retailers, then join our cause. Join our cause in ensuring that these wholesalers, be it Rubus, Shell, or Esso, don't tap into this 25 cents with the government. He said he's a friend of the poor, you know. He's always told me that he's a friend of the poor. If he is a friend of the poor, then I expect Leslie O. Miller, the former Minister of Trade and Industry, to be on the side of the retailers and not speaking out against retailers. He's a statesman in this country, an elder statesman. This is a big court case.
You all are one and the same.
And see, that's where this is where I have a problem with Mr. Miller.
Yeah.
Mr. Miller, Miller,
they control you.
Mr. Miller, well,
Unfortunately.
Mr. Miller, the only person who can control us is God. No one controls us.
I ain't talking about God.
The wholesalers, has their place and they have their influence, but they don't control any retailers. Yes, a lot of us are in contractual agreement with them.
Right.
Yes, a lot of us the real estate are owned by them. We also have some independence, but that's a whole issue, and that's a whole issue, and that's a whole different subject matter for a different day. I am here to tell the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Philip Brave Davis, thank you, sir. Thank you for having the know-how and the way having the courage to help young Bahamians who are struggling in the petroleum industry. I'm not here to debate anything in between wholesalers, retailers, and Mr. Miller and his opinions.
Mr. Miller, what would be your solution to this, to something that's been a decades-old issue and concern, being able to balance, strike a balance? What would your solution be?
First and foremost, let me give you a situation that happened while I was Minister of Trade and Industry. We did a study. Mr. Deal and the others who were there, very intelligent people and knew their business. We compared places like Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad, some of the other countries that's bigger than the Bahamas, some smaller. Barbados was the one almost on par with us, okay? The gas station of the 6-lane roundabout, that's S or Rubus, whatever the hell it is. Mr. Knowles was running that station. Irvin Knowles' brother, God bless him, running that station. He got out of the business because the exorbitant monthly fee that he was paying was less than half of what the guys in Barbados was paying. And I met with them and I said, listen, man, this can't happen in the Bahamas. The fellow over there paying $18,000, the guy here paying $38,000. What's your problem? And I started raising them and I stopped giving them the margins. When the margins came up, in fact, when they bought in their wholesale barges with the fuel, we realized that some cheating was going on. Okay? They were playing games with the paperwork. And many times I refused to give them the increase that they wanted. They went to the PM, and of course, after putting pressure on him, he moved me and sent me to agriculture. That was fine. Didn't matter to me. But I work for the people. People, they can move me anywhere. That's why I call myself Port King. They don't love me. They only know me when they need me. That's the story of my life politically. But that's fine. That's fine. But the problem they have always had, the government needs to sit with the importers and distributors. They own the station. Why is it that the overhead expense is so high? Why is it that you get such a big cut and charge them exorbitant rents when in the west of the Caribbean you're not doing so? Why is that? Why is it that you get a major portion of the food that they sell in those stores? Why is it that you also charge them a fee for their name that they're using? It's their establishment, and yet you're paying a royalty?
Yeah, right.
They're the things that
So you're paying royalty for the name.
We're paying royalty.
Plus you're paying a fee for the food you're selling in the food?
Yeah, we paid royalty and yeah, you know. No, Mr. Miller.
They are the issues
Clint,
that cause the price to be so high.
Clint, Mr. Miller's onto something, but I'm not
They're the
yet.
issues.
I understand.
I'm not yet to
All you can do
discuss that.
is just sit there and don't say much. Let him talk for you in that regard.
If Mr. Miller wants to take on that,
I ain't taking it on.
Take on that charge.
I speak for the basic people. I
He's
speak
more
for
than
the
welcome to take on that charge.
I speak for
I
the
am here
politics.
to speak on behalf of the Bahamas Petroleum Retail Association. I'm here to say thank you again to the Prime Minister for what he's done in his cabinet, Simon Wilson and Michael Keatis, what they've done for us. It's been a long, challenging road.
Let me ask you, Mr. Bassi, are you concerned about the emergence of electrical vehicles?
Not at all. Not at all.
Because it cuts you out altogether.
Not at all. We did a study recently, early last year, and I think less than 1.2% of vehicles on the street are EVs. We're not concerned about electric vehicles.
Now, I hope your study didn't coincide with this study where you say the average people spend $20 a week on gas.
We did a whole study. We're not concerned about that. You know, a lot of EVs vehicles, to replace those batteries,
very expensive.
Very, very expensive. Combustion, more, in some cases, in some vehicles, more than that. Combustion engines are going to be around for a very, very long time. So that, you know, it's like a new trend. You know what I mean? It's a new trend, EVs, and everybody says, oh, I'm going to get me an EV.
Well, the big one is on the way, right there on Howard Road. The big one is coming soon. Very soon. There'll be plenty competition.
So I'm going to give you the final words. I'll give you the last word, but Ms. Mill, I'll give you the word. What do you think going forward consumers should be concerned about, and what should they do to be able to ensure that they're able to thrive and survive in this time?
Listen, the cost of everything in this country has gone up, eh? After COVID, I'm convinced that all the manufacturers and distributors got together and decided they're just going to take advantage of the poor consumers around the world, including the Bahamas. But you know what's going to happen in this situation with these price increases? May not be large in someone's mind, but what's going to happen to the jitney driver who uses about 150 gallons a week? His cost is going up by $37.50. What's going to happen to the truckers, the big guys that live in the sand, the cement and everything else? That's going to go up by $25 a week. The containers, when they go to Rupert Roberts and other people, that's going to go by at least another $25 for each one of those vehicles a week. What's going to go with the taxi drivers? If they use about 50 gallons a week, that's another $25. The school buses, that's another, at least $20. And the contractors who are going to work. I'm just saying that this goes through the entire community. The economy is going to be touched by this. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. I'm saying any burden that is placed on the backs of people should try to lift it instead of adding on to it. I still believe that the distributors and importers are the ones who cause this problem. Now they're going to step to the plate and get theirs. And that's going to be another burden on the backs, not of us, but on them. The importers, the retailers now going to feel the pain. And within a year to two, if things keep trying to raise, they're going to come back for more. That's all I'm saying. We have to have a level playing field that the Bahamian people are the beneficiaries and not the few, whoever those few are.
Thank you. Mr. Batson, you have the last word.
I'm gonna end on how I started. Philip Brave Davis heard the cry of the retailers, and he did the right thing. He's a brave man. He is a good man. We appreciate him. I also want to take this opportunity to extend the olive branch to Leslie O'Miller. Leslie O'Miller, the former Minister of Trade and Investment or Industry. I want him to stand with retailers going forward to ensure that that 25 cents that we get is not taken away from us. If he claims to be the friend of the poor and the pot cake and the big pot cake, well, let's big pot cake and let's baby pot cake. Stand with us to make sure that Bahamian businesses in the petroleum industry can survive and continue to operate at a profit. So I extend my hand. I extend my.
You remember I was trying to do that?
Well, let's do it.
Remember I was trying to do that?
This year, live on the rundown.
We had one meeting.
Big pot cake and baby pot cake will join forces to make sure that we maintain our 25 cents.
Well, I support you. This pit bull supports you. Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show. Still to count, we have a story of an unsung hero. She is being called the Rosa Parks of disability rights in the Bahamas after she risked everything, including her job, to stand up. It's a story you don't want to miss. We're back after this. Stay with us.
JMC TCI and Sunset Village Fish Fry present I'm a Boatman, featuring Katie and Fred, D-Mac, Tino D, Nishi LS, Sweet Emily, Wilfred Sullivan, Funky D, DVS, Veronica Bishop, Papa Smurf, Sherrod Taylor, Lil Joe Cartwright, Mama D, Colin McDonough, Chad Cully and the VIP, and from Turks Island, the Proficient Band, and host Super P. There'll also be performances by The Swinger and the Platinum Nights Junkanoo Crew, Sunday, October 13th at Sunset Village Fish Fry, 8 Mile Rock.
Sponsored by the Ministry of Grand Bahama and the Ministry of Tourism.
Covering the news seems easy, but we put thought into what we're doing. The Bahamas Tonight Access Now, here to inform, educate, and entertain. A new type of newscast. featuring social media trends, news from around the islands, interviews with the people you like, sports, weather, and fabulous entertainment. That's a Bahamas Tonight Access Now with Marcellus Hall and LaDon Davis. Live, starting September 16th.
That's the bear of the Bahamas. I like to go down. Oh yeah.
It's time to grow your church. Time to extend your message to all the islands in the Bahamas, into the Turks and Caicos Islands, and to the world via the ZNS app and website. It's time to broadcast your church's services on ZNS TV. To help you with that, ZNS has some exciting new packages with very good prices. It's time to call 502-3813 for details.
Is the Little Caesars Stuffed Crust Pizza. Get more pizza for less money. Only $12. It's a whole new level of pizza with cheese stuffed crust so spectacular that there's nothing left.
Pizza.
A delicious pepperoni pizza with the crust stuffed with lots of cheese and brushed with butter and garlic flavor and sprinkled with Parmesan cheese. Hot and ready Thursday to Saturday between 4 and 8 for only $12. Simply irresistible. And only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
Beginning Monday, September 16th, it's the new lineup of ZNS News and Current Affairs, 6 p.m. It's What's Trending, Lifestyles in the Afternoon with Stacey Campbell Marshall, 6:30. We head to the north for the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition, 7 p.m. It's the Bahamas Tonight National Report, followed by the Bahamas Tonight Access, now at 7:30. Then at 8 p.m., your nightly news analysis show, The Rundown, with Clint Watson. And 11 p.m., the Bahamas Tonight at 11 with Royston Jones. It's a full lineup of the new ZNS. And it starts Monday, September 16th. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
Welcome back to The Rundown. This story particularly, I believe, will change the nation when you hear it. Her story has not been heard nationally, but it's in her death that many will get to know of her national sacrifice. Dr. Coralin Hanna died last Friday at the age of 90. To say she lived a full life is an understatement. You see, she was a legend, a woman who made incredible sacrifices, and a woman who literally birthed the fight for persons living with disabilities in the Bahamas. We're going to hear more about her cause and her fight tonight. Joining me tonight is her niece, Debbie Hanna, and mentee, past president of the Bahamas National Council for Disability, and I say activist for disability, Sheila Culmer. Ladies, welcome to the show. So great to have such amazing women, Bahamian women here tonight.
Good evening.
Thank you.
I'm going to be frank.
Thank you for having me.
Up until today, I never heard of this name.
Really?
Never knew about this woman.
Wow.
But a phone call changed my life, I think, today forever. Received a call from Miss Sheila Culmer telling me, do you know a woman by the name of Dr. Coralin Hanna? No, I don't. She said, you don't know her? She was the woman that started the fight for disability, persons with disabilities in this country. And when I heard the story and she told me about you, the niece, and I heard your story, I just knew we had to share this with the nation tonight. So begin, first of all, Debbie, in telling me, Dr. Coralin Hanna, how did she get involved in disability? Tell us that story.
Okay, it started for her. She always claimed that the Lord wasted no time in telling her or giving her her purpose in life. The very first hour of the very first day of the very first job, she said she knew. And what had happened that day was she was a school teacher. She was 16, and so we're talking 1950. So she went into the classroom and she thought, well, she was about the same age as the children that she was teaching. So she thought, well, okay, she's going to get things sorted out so that they know, so they knew the rules and the regulations and set things up. So she reached the part of hygiene, and she told them, well, you got to clean your shoes. And the headmaster, who was in the room, seeing that this was her first day, said, put a pin there. All the children, because they used to use the big benches, the 6-foot benches, say, come out in the front, line up. And when they did that, she noticed that the majority of them had no shoes. And here she is talking about cleaning your shoes. So she said, well, she said all of a sudden she felt like a blow to her gut. And when she turned around, because she felt it weeping, she felt like the tears. And when she turned around, the headmaster took over the class. And when she turned around, she realized that the Lord just gave her her purpose in life. And that purpose in life was to ensure that children in the Bahamas would not, that she would do something in terms of them not having shoes, not having uniforms, and that was the birthing of school welfare.
Wow.
Now, she always considered welfare as a part of disability, just like speech, because you could be disabled in your finances. And so that was the beginning of her purpose.
How did she get involved in disability?
Now, that is disability. The lack of welfare is a part of disability. But to move further, when she, as the school teacher, now she's teaching, and when the children didn't come to school, she would get on her bicycle and she would go to their homes. And in their homes, she saw that there were children, crippled, dumb, deaf, and when she had spoken to the parents, let's say in the PTA meetings and stuff, they never mentioned these children.
So parents would only identify children who, in their words, were normal?
Yes.
They would never identify they had a child at home who had a disability?
No.
Why?
Well, in those days, parents thought that it was a curse.
Wow.
That they did something wrong, and God, this is punishment for the something wrong that they did.
Really?
And they also believe, coming from the UBP days, they also believe that disability was inherited. And so to have disabled persons in the society would cause the society to be downgraded, because you would have many more, they would marry, and once they marry and once they have children and stuff like that, then you would have many more disabled persons within the society. So they wanted them to, if they were born disabled, okay, they live at home, they die at home, and then that's the end of them. They don't mix. And her whole thing was that, listen, these children, they're deaf, but they can learn. They can't speak, but they can learn. There's nothing wrong with their brain. You have those who have slow learners, but they can learn as well.
So she was willing to be the advocate to fight for these children be included?
Yes, her whole thing was access. Access to the community, access that they would be able to to gain from the community. They would be able to contribute to the community, and they would find their purpose, and they would be able to use and live by whatever potential they had, that they would maximize.
You told me that she even gave up her job. She was told to choose if she was going to follow this path, whether she would stay in a job or not.
Yeah, that happened a little later, because what happened was, after she found that these children were at home, then she pursued to get these children in school. And that meant that the Education Act did not allow these children to go to school. So that would have had to change. No school wanted them.
Wow.
And so she was able to do a pilot program in one of the schools, and that's how it was introduced into the schools. Now, moving forward, when she wanted to make this a national thing. She didn't know quite how to do that. At that time, the women's suffrage movement was going on. And the women's suffrage movement was that women could now vote. Men who didn't have land could now vote, that they weren't able to vote before. So she went and she said, okay, the only way she's going to do this is to make it big. She's going to go to the party that was trying to come on board and the majority rule, which was the PLP. And this is prior to Pinlin being in the PLP.
Right.
So this was Cartwright.
Mark Cartwright.
And he had a magazine. She used to ghostwrite for him. And then Pinlin came on. Pinlin is a friend from East Street days. You know, his father had the store on East Street, and so she knew him. And so she said, make me a deal, and I will help you to win this election. And the deal is that she would canvass for him and go into these homes, and she would bring these people who have special needs, she will bring them out to vote for the first time.
So she was the one to get these people with special needs to vote.
To vote. And so she went and she canvassed a local company that had a bus, and so she would bus them in. She went and she was able to get an ambulance, you know, to help her with those who needed ambulance service.
I want to bring Ms. Comer in here because I want us to run out of time. You knew this story.
A bit of it, yes. Yes.
We associate disabilities, a lot of us, modern day society people, with your fight and your cause. But here is a woman before you came on the scene who was doing this.
Yes, well, Dr. Hannah, deceased, 90. I'm 78, so she was before my time.
Wow.
I refer to Dr. Coralin Hannah as my mentor. When I was finished with Teachers College back in, I think it was what, 60, 64, 65, Dr. Hannah had been making all these innuendos and lobbying with the government to try to get disabled persons on board in school. And as Debbie has said, she fought to have them included in the Education Act because there was no room for them. Okay, after I finished with Bahamas Teachers College, Dr. Hannah started an evening program. It lasted, what, about 8 weeks. And it was called Remedial Education. And she was running that course for teachers who might have been interested in working with slow learners.
I want to pause right there. I'm going to let you pick up right there when we go to a break. Let's go to a break and we'll come back and and finish this phenomenal story. We're back after this. Stay close.
This event, JMC TCI and Sunset Village Fish Fry present I'm a Boatman, featuring KB and Fred, D-Mac, Tino D, Nishi LS, Sweet Emily, Wilfred Sullivan, Funky D, DVS, Veronica Bishop, Papa Smurf, Gerard Taylor, Lil Joe Cartwright, Mama D, Colin McDonough, Chad Cully, and the VIP. And from Turks Island, the Proficient Band, and host Super P. There'll also be performances by The Swinger and the Platinum Nights Jokino Group. Sunday, October 13th at Sunset Village Fish Fry, 8 Mile Rock.
Sponsored by the Ministry of Grand Bahama and the Ministry of Tourism.
Welcome to our SBDC Business Tips, where we share valuable insights with small business owners. From practical advice to actionable tips, we're here to support you on your journey to success. Build a strong brand. Building a strong brand is crucial for long-term success in today's competitive business landscape. Your brand is more than just a logo. It's the essence of your business. Invest time and effort into developing a strong brand identity that reflects your values, mission, and personality. A strong brand can help you to stand out in a crowded market, build trust with your customers, and foster a long-term relationship that drives business success. We hope you find these business tips helpful. To help your business reach its full potential, visit sbdcbahamas.com or give us a call at 242-461-SBDC.
Is the Little Caesars Stuffed Crust Pizza. Get more pizza for less money. Only $12. It's a whole new level of pizza with cheese stuffed crust so spectacular that there's nothing left.
Pizza.
A delicious pepperoni pizza with the crust stuffed with lots of cheese and brushed with butter and garlic flavor and sprinkled with Parmesan cheese. Hot and ready Thursday to Saturday between 4 and 8 for only $12. Simply irresistible. And only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
Welcome back to The Rundown. We're talking about the life and legacy of Dr. Coralin Hanna. I call her the Rosa Parks of disability, with her niece Debbie Hanna, and of course, activist in disability Sheila Culmer. This is a woman many people didn't know about. Many of you may be learning about her for the first time tonight. She passed away last week, Friday, at the age of 90. She fought and paved the way for disabilities in this country, for persons with disabilities to have access to education, to have access to jobs, and to have their rights upheld. A phenomenal woman, and I am just amazed that I'm just learning about her today. You were talking about, Ms. Sheila Culmer, when you went off to Teachers College and how you got involved in the fight with Dr. Coralin Hanna.
Yes.
You see her as a hero for disability rights.
Yes. I feel that if it were not for Dr. Hanna, we probably wouldn't be where we are today in terms of education and training for persons with disabilities. And I mean, this is not a part of the show, but I may not have a chance to say it again. We really need to focus on the disabled and go back into history, because a whole lot of the history of education and training for persons with disability, they're not being told. We're just hearing, you know, they're almost arrived, if you could consider them as being arrived. But Dr. Hanna, when she introduced this program for remedial education, I enrolled in the program. Okay, at that time, you had a group of private citizens who was providing education for their children. Now, I'm gonna get in trouble. When I started out 50 plus years ago, I knew them as mentally retarded.
That's what they called them.
That's what I knew them as, but I'm being told that that's not correct, but that's what I know them as. And the Bahamas Association for the Mentally Retarded came out of this group there were 6 parents. One person that I know that is still alive today, Mrs. Gwen McDigan, she had a special child, and she was amongst those. The Bahamas Association for the Mentally Retarded, they had some connection with the Caribbean, with other Caribbean countries who had special children, and they used to have a special program every summer. So after Dr. Hannah found out about this program, and she had met me, at the time I had gone to William Phipps School, primary school. Many of you don't know about William Phipps Primary School. It no longer exists.
I remember hearing it.
Okay. She approached me asking me if I would be interested. I had never seen a so-called mentally retarded person, a slow learner or anything, a special child. I told her, okay, because I used to do PE at William Phipps Primary School, and I used to get an allowance. But after Dr. Hannah told me that I would get a bigger allowance, that led me to it. So I went, and she got permission from the association to include a government school teacher, which was me. And I went, but the idea, whole thing was I would have to agree to go to Stapleton School. All right, I went to Stapleton School. And it was there that along with Dr. Hannah, the fight started. You see, Dr. Hannah was the brain box. She had all these ideas. I was just merely a teacher. She was, I think, an assistant director at the time. But, you know, I guess Dr. Hannah, how do I describe her? She was an easygoing person. She worked quietly behind the scene. But if I saw something that I didn't like, I didn't even have to speak about it. Just had to look at my face, and you knew. Okay, so that is where the push started. And like I say, Dr. Hannah, she was my mentor. I learned so much from her, and I personally don't feel that the Bahamas has done her justice. I have awards. I got the awards. She brought me in. Wow. But Dr. Hannah was a great person. And that is why after, let's see, she's been dead almost a week. And I haven't seen her name in the news or anything like that. What is happening? Dr. Hannah was a great person.
Let me ask you as we get ready to close, Ms. Debbie, how do you feel as though she has not gotten her just reward for what she's done here, locally in the Bahamas?
No, not at all. And just to mention some of what she has done is she brought to the Bahamas from her own time, not paid by government. And she started school welfare. She started school psychological services. She started special education.
Wow.
She started speech therapy. She started,
There's a group that keeps escaping me, the boys group.
Sure program.
Sure.
Yeah,
she started program Sure.
Yes, she started program Sure.
Wow.
She wrote the program. She was the first one writing the program, and then she had another person who came in to assist her. And so they co-hosted. She did the hospital school, because there were children in hospital for long periods of time that weren't being educated.
Wow.
So she did a school there. And there's so many other things that that she introduced, you know, in order to better serve those persons with disabilities. And I have found that over the years, there are many persons who would like to rewrite history as to say, well, they did a lot of these things. Wow. And not give her due. But she was a very quiet person. Her personality was not one where give me awards, give me awards, give me awards.
She didn't ask for the accolades.
No, her personality was things have to be done. And if it's not me who do it, then who? You know, so let me get busy and let me do it. And let me set up the programs, let the programs go on.
Dr. Coralin Hanna, remember that name, Dr. Coralin Hanna, a Bahamian woman who fought for the rights of those who couldn't fight for themselves. And today, legislation, today, institutions, today, success stories all stand on her shoulder. I learned about this woman today for the first time in my 49 years of being on this earth. And I surely, after hearing the story, I'm grateful to women like Dr. Coralin Hanna, who made a difference in our Bahamas. We know the stories of so many other foreigners or from other countries who have done it. We all know Rosa Parks. We all know Dr. Martin Luther King. We can name the names of great Americans. Can we do the same about Bahamians who have sacrificed their very life so that we can indeed have some freedoms and rights today? So on this day, I take the time on the rundown here at the Broadcasting Corporation to salute one Dr. Coralin Hanna for a fight in disabilities in this country. May her soul rest in peace. Ladies, thank you so much for sharing the story and for picking up the phone and calling me today and changing the rest of my life by this story.
I'm glad I met her, and like I spent some 30 odd years at Stapleton School, and it was because of Dr. Coralin Hanna.
May our legacy continue. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
The Rundown is brought to you by Jamaica Bahama Imports Collect, the I Am a Boatman concert with KB and Friends, CBS, Little Caesars Pizza, Ace Hardware, the Small Business Development Center, and of course, Bamboo Shack Express. Thanks so much for joining us. We invite you back here tomorrow night. The Commissioner of Police will be here. We're talking about everything that have to do with crime and the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Don't forget to join us for Bahamas Tonight at 11 with Royston Jones tonight at 11 o'clock. For all of us here at ZNS, I'm Clint Watson. Thanks for joining us. Good night.